So if you're a man in your 30s and you're struggling to find your way, what I mean by that is you've tried every program on the internet, every diet, every workout plan, and you're still struggling to make changes permanent, then this video is probably for you. Hey guys, I'm Andy Rose. I'm the owner of Vanguard Barbell Coaching. I wanted to take a minute to talk to you about what our company does and what our company is based on. First and foremost, we are guided by 4 pillars, which their whole purpose is to make sure that the changes that you make, you keep. Pillar number 1 is mindset. And I know it's not just as simple as saying mindset, but what else is involved in that? That comes to your habits, your routines, the way you look at your training, your nutrition, your lifestyle. But it all starts right here, and that's the first thing that we'll work on. Pillar number 2 is nutrition, and that is the place where most of us get off track. And it's not as simple as me saying, hey, don't eat like an asshole, but actually teaching you the proper way to set up your nutrition. So you're not on a diet. You're not trying to just lose weight. You're trying to perform. You're trying to be a better athlete. You're still trying to have energy to be with your family or run your company, whatever it might be. But you're also fueled for your training to make sure that you're getting everything out of each workout that's possible. So pillar number 3 is training. One of the things I've said quite often to clients and athletes that I work with is I don't do skinny, I do strong. So the way that training is set up is meant to be progressive in that nature. So you're going to build from week to week and month to month. You're going to master some movements like your squat, your bench press, your deadlift, overhead press, the big movements. You're going to get really good at them. But your training specifically is meant to make you stronger. So everything that goes into that, whether it's your mindset, whether it's your nutrition, whether it's how you live your life, it's all meant to get you in the gym to train as hard and as effectively as possible. So the last pillar, and the one that holds it all together, is accountability. I've said this quite often to my athletes. I don't get paid to come up with a fad workout. I don't get paid to come up with some crazy new diet. Where I truly make my money is holding you accountable to the goals that you've set for yourself. Not goals that I came up with for you. It's what you expressed that you wanted to accomplish. So ultimately, I have to hold you accountable to that. And everything else is built upon what you want to get accomplished. So when you start working with me as a client, we take a look at those 4 pillars and build everything around it. Obviously, we're going to start with your mindset, but your nutrition and your training are then built around what the goal is that I'm going to be holding you accountable to. So everything about this program is built around you. Nothing is pre-made, but after we spend some time on the phone making that plan, that's when I put it all together for you. So I'm going to take a minute to talk about a couple of the clients that I've worked with in the recent past. First, I'll talk about Christian. Christian came to me at 309 pounds. He was on multiple medications for type 2 diabetes, had a handicap placard because he couldn't walk far. He was so overweight. And in his time working with me, he's down to 200 pounds at this point. So he's 109 pounds down. And it's been a long process for him because he's implemented a lot of things that he had learned in the past, but they didn't work. There's a lot of quick fix things, crash diets and 30-day workout routines and things like that. They just didn't produce permanent results. So, with Christian, it was about education. Okay, how are we going to shop for groceries? How are we going to make those changes? Because with someone like Christian, the training part, while it's important, is fairly simple. Move your body. At his stage, it was about movement. But the most important thing we had to work on was his nutrition and his mindset, his approach to it. Because he had been in that place for so long that he was defeated. And one of my proudest days as a coach is when he sent me a video and he had taken the handicap placard off of his mirror and he crumpled it up and threw it out. And that was very early on. That only took him a couple of months to get to that point. And then, he's had so many physique transformations while he's worked with me that it's like he's buying new clothes all the time because his clothes are falling off. But truly, the most meaningful part of this whole journey for him and for me as a coach is the day that he called to tell me that he was no longer on any of his medications for his diabetes. So he had gone back to the doctor several times, and he had reversed the effects of that type 2 diabetes. And every time I talk about him as a client, like I get teared up a little bit because that's why I do what I do. It's not about, does he want to look better? Sure. But he also wants to live his life, and that's really an important part to think about. So that's Christian. So one of the most important components in this coaching program is communication. And I'll use Ryan as an ideal example of that. And Ryan lives halfway across the country. So we're in different time zones. So communication is crucial to the point where, we've organized specific times when I was traveling for coaching, and he just happened to be fairly close to where I was. He came to the gym. We got together. We went over some movements, right? Went over his bench press, went over his deadlift, talked about his nutrition. About a month later, he actually flew here in Charleston, South Carolina, and we did some more of the same. Brought him to the gym, worked on a lot of stuff, sort of immersed him in that culture of what we're trying to do. And that was really effective. And Ryan's a prime example of when you're truly bought into the process, truly bought into the coaching process. He just executes. But he also asks a lot of questions. If something doesn't seem quite right, he'll ask for clarity. If he's at Olive Garden with his family, he's like, bro, I don't want to mess this up. Tell me what to eat. And that was at the very beginning. Now it's a habit. He goes to a restaurant, or if he's traveling for work, he knows exactly how to execute. He knows, okay, if I'm on the road, what breakfast can I get at the gas station kind of thing. So there's a huge educational component, and Ryan's a perfect example of he's a busy dude. He's got a family, he's got a career, he still wants to look and feel a certain way, and he had been really frustrated for a long time because nothing was working. He's bought in, it's working. And I couldn't be happier with his results, so that speaks volumes. So the next client I want to talk about is Alan. And Alan was a referral from a client of mine that I've worked with for several years. And he's a business owner, he's super busy, he's flying all over the country. And, training is important to him, but when you're a business owner, your business takes priority. When you're an executive, or maybe you're a chef and you own your own restaurant, or maybe you're a videographer, right? You put your business first, or you put your family first, and whatever time you have left is very minimal. So our first objective with Alan was to take a look at his time and arrange his training in a way that was mindful of that. So if he was in a hotel, we have some workouts that he can execute there. He's traveled here a few times to go over some of the bigger movements, make sure they're polished. And then making them effective in terms of time, right? If he's only got 30 or 45 minutes, we make sure the workouts are 30 or 45 minutes, so he's in and out. And then when it comes to his nutrition, it's a similar concept of he's always on the run, so how do we plan this so that he can either pick something up on the road or make some better choices if he's in restaurants and business meetings and stuff like that. He's definitely one of those clients that'll call me up and send me a picture of a menu from a restaurant and say, dude, what should I eat? Which is, I love when my clients, my athletes do that. It's like, hey, I need your help. And that's truly what you're paying me to do, right? And Alan is a prime example of, one of the last things I say when I start working with a new athlete or a new client is, now that you paid me, you've got to annoy the shit out of me. And everybody chuckles when I say it, but the truth is, you're paying me to do a job, you need to lean in. So utilize me every possible time. Don't just guess about something. And Alan's been extraordinarily successful with that, because whatever I put in front of him, he executes. He asks great questions. He relies on me a lot for some information that he doesn't have. So yeah, can you go on the internet and do some research and answer your own questions? Sure. But it's one of those scenarios where you've got me on your team. Give me a call. Let me figure out a solution to the problem. So I've talked about a few of my clients, a few of my athletes they've had great success, that were super excited, that were ready to rock, that really this program just hit it perfectly for them. But I want to talk about a client of mine, Enoch, who was really skeptical, because he had always trained in person, whether it was with me or a different coach, a different trainer before me. So when he had moved back to Charleston, so he's a traveling nurse, so he's all over the place. We had trained together for, I think, 6 months, maybe a year. And then he moved to New York City for a year. He moved back to Charleston, and he came to the gym and said, I want to train again. And I was like, listen, bud, I don't train in person anymore, but I have this online coaching program. And he was super skeptical to try it. And it actually, for his schedule, being a nurse, worked out really well. And he started executing from day one, from his nutrition to his training to scheduling his check-in calls every week, his progress photos, all of it. And lo and behold, a couple months in, he's like, I actually really like this. Because he had the flexibility to train at whatever gym he wanted to train at. If he was traveling, whether it was to New York or Texas or anywhere else, he could take the training with him, he could take my coaching with him, and it was accessible. And it's such a great example of how, if you truly apply all of these concepts and you buy into this coaching program, you have no option but to be successful. Even if you've had the experience of great coaching in person, one-on-one, you can still get to that level of success from right here. And that's probably the single greatest example I can give anybody of how this coaching program works and how beneficial it can be. One of the biggest questions that I get from new athletes and new clients is, how does this program work if it's remote? How can you coach me if you're halfway across the country? And it might seem more challenging than you think, but it really comes down to communication. So I can't fix what I can't see. So the more you communicate with me, the more that you show me, the more I can help. One of my guys, Hunter, he's halfway across the country. Sorry, he's halfway across the world. He's in like 12 hours ahead. And I can still coach him. I've coached him for several years, whether he's stateside or whether he's overseas. And how it works is every time he trains, he sends me videos of all of his movements. Now, he doesn't have to send me all of them, but I'm also not going to stop him because that's a habit. Part of his training is also sending me videos. Not everything I need to give feedback on, but the movements that he's working on. Maybe he's struggling with his squat or his deadlift. We're really going to focus on those, and that's where we can make some real-time changes. So yeah, you got to set your camera up and videotape some stuff. Do you have to videotape your bicep curls? No, unless you don't know how to do a bicep curl. So we're really looking at those big movements, and that's how I deliver the coaching. I have notifications coming through my phone all day long. I'll talk about Hunter because he's training in a completely different time zone. I will get notifications at 3, 4 in the morning when he's doing his workout, and it'll be one after another and I know who it is just by how the videos come in or how the notifications come through on my phone. And then I know as soon as I open my eyes for the day, I can go and take a look at everything that he's done, everything that he's logged, and then we can make some adjustments. So for the last couple of minutes, we've talked about a program, but haven't really talked about any practical application. So I want to take the next couple of minutes and discuss with you exactly what happens once you sign up with me and we start this coaching process. So I'm going to go over the finer details of what to expect, how we'll get started, and how you'll hit the ground running. So the first thing you can expect is a little bit of a deeper questionnaire. So I send you my client intake form. It's going to ask you some longer questions, and by longer I mean you're going to have to put a little bit more detail into it, not just basic medical history stuff, but you know what your time is like, what your schedule is like, what your budget's like for nutrition, what your budget is like for your gym membership, the amount of time that you can spend in a gym on a daily basis. And that's going to give me a better picture of where we can start. I can't send you a program that's meant for someone who has the ability to train 7 days a week if you only have the ability to train 3. So what we're going to take a look at is everything that goes into your daily life and optimize your program around that. So how do I deliver all of this to you? Once we do all of that legwork, we build your program and we talk about your nutrition. I know about your daily routines and what responsibilities you have outside of the gym. I deliver it right here. So everything that you're going to execute on comes right through my coaching app. So as soon as we get started, I get you set up in my app. You have a profile set up. That's where all of your programming will go. It's where your nutrition will go. It's where you'll track your macros. It's where you'll have your food log. You're going to have certain tasks every week that you're going to have to do, whether it's your check-in photos, a weigh-in, scheduling check-in calls with me. That's really the heart of this program, is in the palm of your hand. So everything you're going to need is right with you at all times. So you have 100% unfettered access to me and everything that this coaching program entails. So one thing you'll learn about me is I don't do that pushy salesman crap. I know I'm not for everybody. Not everybody's for me, and that is okay. So I'm not going to shove a program down your throat and say, you got to buy, you got to buy, you got to buy, or make some sort of fake scarcity of like, I've only got 3 spots left. The truth is, I don't take on a lot of these remote clients because I want to be able to be accessible to everybody, to be able to provide the level of coaching that I'm talking about with you now. I can only coach so many athletes at once. So I do kind of keep that to a minimum, but it's give and take. Sometimes I'll take on more, sometimes I'll take on less. It really depends on how I feel. And if we're a good fit, we'll know. So we'll have that discussion if you want. I think there's a link like somewhere down there or over there, I don't know. Tap the link if you want to schedule a call. We'll go over all this stuff a little bit in greater detail. If you've got some extra questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. We can talk about how this process starts, how this process ends. And my goal is, once you say, hey man, let's do this, let's go. Once I compile all this information with you, my goal is to have it up and running in your app within 48 to 72 hours so you can hit the ground running. Because you're excited, you're fired up, you're ready to go right now. I don't want to make you wait. I want to get to the good stuff and start making some progress. So if you know everything you need to know and maybe you're like, let's do this, I want to get ready to go. Or maybe you have some questions and you need a little bit more clarity. Somewhere below this video, there's a link to my schedule. Tap that link, schedule some time to speak with me personally, and then I'll go over the whole process with you from soup to nuts.